What's up, lovers of whiskey and watchers of YouTube? I'm the Malt activist, and today, well, I have a rather sad video for you because in this video I want to talk to you about 4 whiskeys that I will probably never buy again. Yeah, probably not. Before we begin, a big fat thank you to our first-time viewers. You clicked on that thumbnail, didn't you? That means you like whiskey or you want to know more about it. Well, if that's your jam, then this is the channel for you, man. There's whiskey reviews, whiskey discussions, whiskey rants, whiskey vlogs, and whiskey lists and everything else in between. So, if you like that kind of stuff, well, please consider subscribing. It's free, absolutely free. And it won't cost you a single penny. Imagine. Some things in life are free, you know? All the good things are anyway. To my returning viewers, thank you for making this happen. As always, I can't believe you guys are still around. Wow, you set such a low standard in life for yourself. Why? Anyway, I'm truly, eternally grateful for your patronage and thank you for staying around. And to my YouTube members and my Patreon gang, man, you guys are awesome. I really appreciate it. Now, on to the touchy subject. Now, before I truly get into the video, let me tell you something. This is not a hate video. This is not even a rant. This is just a, I wish things could get better with them video, if you know what I mean. You know, it's a bit of a, I'm a little disappointed video. You know what I'm saying? And I normally don't, I wouldn't make a video specifically about whiskeys that you should not buy. Boom, make it all super dramatic and stuff. But I was at a party the other day and someone I know came up to me and said, hey, you seem to know a lot about whiskeys. And I said, yeah, well, that's the impression, I'm going for. And they said, hey, tell us, you're always talking about which whiskeys to buy. What whiskeys would you specifically tell me not to buy? And I said, you know what, that's a dumb question, because there's no such thing as a whiskey that you shouldn't buy. I think you should buy all kinds of whiskeys and you should decide for yourself after a period of time and be like, okay, you know what, I've tried enough of this distillery and you know what, it's not my jam. It's just not my jam. And so, you know what, I think I'm going to pass on this whiskey in the future. And that's what you need to do. So he's like, no, man, but I really want to, hold you to something, you must have something like this. And so I thought about it. I didn't have an immediate answer. I'll be very honest with you. Actually, I did have one immediate answer, and you already know what that is. If you've been a long time patron of this channel, you know what's coming. But I wanted to think about it. So I did think about it, and I said, okay, what would happen if you put me in a room full of whiskeys and I could purchase anything I wanted? It was within my price range. Which whiskeys would I just look at, glance over, and then just move on to something else? And a few did come to my mind, and there were many reasons for that, right? And so the whiskeys that I'm about to sort of list down today, I put a few criteria for myself. Number 1, I should have at least tasted 8 to 10 different expressions from this distillery, and I think that's really important because I think that's a broad enough sample size for me to make a decision. Okay, I should have it in my bar. Okay, I think that's important. I should have purchased it. What else? And it should be within my means, if you know what I mean, right? I mean, I would never say, oh, do not ever buy a Kurosawa 50, because I'm not doing that. I'd rather go to the moon. It's easier for me to go to the moon than to buy a Kurosawa 50. So so those are my 3 sort of broad categories, and I thought, you know what, there's a few that spring to my mind, and there are varied reasons for all 4, and so let's talk about them. Glenrothes. Yes. Almost gone. You know why? Because I used it as sample share bottle because this was something I didn't want to drink. This is the 1991 vintage Glenrothes, which I bought many years ago. I think I bought this in 2007 or 8. I'm not sure. No, I don't know when I bought it. Yeah, maybe 7 or 8. This is bottled in 2007, making it about 15 years old. Okay. And my issue with Glenrothes is that it's so generic, right? It's just so generic. And I don't think I would have drunk 8 to 10 Glenrothes had I not gone to a tasting, which happened many years ago. I want to say 7 or 8 years ago. And we drunk, I'm going to say, about 6 or 7 different expressions that day. They were all vintage expressions, by the way. One of them I thought was kind of decent. I think it was the 1988 vintage. But the rest, everything else was just pedestrian is the word. Mediocre, average, just run-of-the-mill. So hard to distinguish from anything else that was ordinary. And so I don't, you know, it's not a bad whiskey. It's not like, oh my God, if you drink a Glenrothes, it'll make you puke. No, I mean, you can drink it. You can kind of drink it if you want. There's nothing wrong with drinking it. But there's no nuance, there's no character. I don't think they've done a good job sort of staying with the times. I don't personally mind the packaging on this bottle, but I would have really liked a fresher approach to, I don't know, the PR, the whiskey making, you know, what's the trend? Brands like Glenfiddich, for example, while they're still run-of-the-mill and straightforward whiskeys, they had this whole spin on, hey, it'll do so well in cocktails. So while as a purist, I don't necessarily see that as a great thing, but as a brand person or as a marketeer, I can see where they're headed. They're always coming up with some degree of innovation, you know, whether it's Project 20, where they rounded up 20 of their brand ambassadors, had them choose their whiskeys and made a bottle out of it. Cool. I mean, the whiskey was all right, wasn't bad, but it was something different. There was a story, there was romance, and that's what I'm missing here in Glenrothes. I miss the romance. There's no romance, there's no storytelling. Why should I fall in love with you? You know? And that to me is missing. And then on top of that, the spirit in itself, nah. And I thought to myself, I said, yeah, this is the one whiskey that I probably would never buy again. Even though, if you bear with me for a second, I have here with me 1975 vintage Glenrothes, which was given to me on my birthday by a good friend of mine. 3,700 bottles made or whatever, rich fruit citrus. So I haven't tried this yet. I want to. This is probably the one Glenrothes that I will probably open up at some point and see what the fuss is all about. But you know, I don't think I'd ever buy one. I don't think I'd voluntarily walk into a store and be like, oh, let me buy this Glenrothes. And the other thing is, they're ABVs, man. They're all like 43%, which I think is kind of weak, and I'm not so happy about that. So, I could go on ranting, and I don't want to do that. So here's the deal, man. Glenrothes, very generic, very pedestrian, and not my cup of tea. So yeah, definitely one whiskey that I probably won't buy again. The next two whiskeys, I'll sort of lump them together because they're kind of sister distilleries. I'm talking about Jura and Dalmore. And what's connecting them is, of course, Mr. Richard Patterson, who used to be the whiskey maker or the master blender for both Jura and Dalmore. And first, please don't get me wrong, I adore Richard Patterson. I've met him on numerous occasions. He's extremely generous, he's fun, he's witty, he's charming. I love the role that he plays as a whiskey ambassador, this larger in life amazing guy who comes in and who serenades you and with his antics. He's super fun. I love it. Unfortunately, I don't like the whiskeys that he makes. okay? And I think you can differentiate the two, of course you can. And my problem with both Jura and Dalmore is exactly the same, is that the integrity of the spirit is super compromised by the over maturation of super strong sherry casks, right? Different types of sherry casks that go into maturing all of Jura and Dalmore, I feel, overpower the distillate, overshadow the nuance and the character that the distillate should bring forth, and that's what's missing, you know. Jura specifically, maybe the Jura Prophecy is probably my favorite of all Juras, but it is one of my least favorite whiskeys still. It's not a bad whiskey, the Jura Prophecy, but everything else that I've had from Jura, I've had this sort of sweet, cloyingly sweet, overly saturated with very strong sherry maturation, which makes me feel that, am I really tasting, you know, the character of the distillery? And that doesn't come through, and that's what disappoints me. And again, the spectrum of flavors and experience is sort of very one-dimensional, and it doesn't work for me. Right? It just doesn't work for me. Even though I've been doing a bit of research, I can see that on their website they've got so many more different travel retail expressions happening. They're doing. There's a bourbon cask only, which I should be trying. There's some port finishes, rum finishes, all of the above. But generally, of the Juras that I've had, and I've had many, I'll be honest with you, the ones that I've had, very one-dimensional on that flavor profile, and I feel very overly sherried, very overly matured, you know. And I have the same issue with Dalmore. Again, though I think Dalmore has done a fantastic job of marketing itself, you know, releasing the Trinitas and the 64-year-old and the Constellation series and the Signature series and all that hoopla that they do around older whiskeys, and then they get sold at auction for like hundreds of thousands of pounds. That does really well for their PR and marketing, and so, you know, gets a lot of eyeballs, and people go and pick it up and they drink it. And here's the other thing. My reason for picking these whiskeys is a very purist way of looking at whiskey, right? Purist is the wrong word. I think a very sort of elitist, almost fussy way of looking at whiskeys, because both Jura and Dalmore very much liked by a lot of people. I think because they're on the sweeter side, they're kind of easy to drink because they're all at like about roughly 43% maximum. They're heavily colored, all of them, so they look great in a glass. And so the 99.9% of the whiskey drinking population that doesn't include snobs like me love those whiskeys, and they go out and buy those whiskeys and drink them, and they enjoy drinking them, and I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Please don't get me wrong. More power to you. It's your money, it's your whiskey. You do what you want. But for me personally, from a drinking experience where I want to sit down and I want to caress and finesse the layers of complexity in a whiskey, I do not find it in Jura or Dalmore, unfortunately. And for that reason, those two whiskeys are my number 2 and 3 pick for whiskeys that I will probably never buy again. Yes, sad but true. Go Metallica. And last but not the least, and if you've been a long time patron of this page, then you know exactly what I'm talking about, ladies and gentlemen. I'm of course talking about the Rolls Royce of whiskeys. I'm talking about the MACALLAN. I'm done. I was done a long time ago, but today I'm really done because I feel kind of betrayed. I'll be honest with you, right? I fell in love with whiskeys because of MACALLAN. Okay, don't get me wrong. And this is in the early 2000s, and the spirit, the 12 sherry oak, the 18 sherry oak, oh my god. And then I had a 25 sherry oak at a tasting. Oh my god, it was just what whiskey making is all about. And I had the pleasure of trying a pre-2000 Macallan 18 distillate, which was just that cask selection, that spirit, just everything about it was just phenomenal. And so now, and by the way, my first Macallan ever was the Macallan 10-year-old cask strength. The 10-year-old cask strength was my first whiskey, first Macallan, by the way. And I remember drinking it and going, holy shit, what the hell is this? How can whiskey taste this good? And Macallan is the reason I'm in love with whiskey today. And so it pains me even more to say that release after release, they've let me down, and I don't think it's fair that they charge what they charge. It's ridiculous. This is like $150 whiskey, a $200 whiskey, you know, and I don't like it. A Night on Earth I had recently. My word, I was just the Lumina, their color series, the Sienna and the Ruby and all that drama. Everything, man, everything that they're doing is just, I'm not a big fan at all. And on top of that, you know, they come in at ridiculously low ABVs of 40, 43, definitely chill filtered if not colored, and just disappointing, you know. And the price tag on those babies, oh my word, there's so many other good whiskeys that you can get for that kind of money than having to spend it on a Macallan, unfortunately. But like I said, you know, geniuses, marketing geniuses that have put those super old age statements out. Their marketing team is amazing. The collaborations that they do with artists, these guys really know what's trending. These guys really understand what it is that's going to attract an audience to their whiskeys, and I think there's probably nobody who can rival that level of sophistication that Macallan has in terms of marketing itself, in terms of being this PR juggernaut that it is, and the ideas that their marketing and PR department comes up with in order to sell these whiskeys. I just wish that it was translated into the spirit. And that's what's not happening, because ultimately the proof is in the pudding, or the whiskey is in the bottle, you know. And man, sad state of affairs as far as I'm concerned. Overhyped, overmarketed, just not good value for money, my friends. It's not good value for money, but overall just not good whiskeys, unfortunately. I wish I had the money to purchase the old school stock or the 30-year-olds that come out, but you know, I don't have enough kidneys, man, to sell. I just don't. And so for that reason alone, Macallan makes my list, and I'm pretty sure you expected that. So yeah, there you have it, man. There you have it. So in conclusion, man, all I want to say is please understand where I'm coming from. It's from a place of hurt, and it's from a place of love. You know, I wish these whiskeys would recognize what they need to do in order to stand out and really get us to take notice. But having said that, you know, like I said, we're just 0.1% of the world whiskey drinking population, snobs like me, and I feel that we're not the target audience that these guys cater to. They cater to the travel retailers, the casual drinkers who will buy these whiskeys and be perfectly happy doing that. And you know what? I don't begrudge them that. You know, if 99.9% of the people want to buy my product that is designed in a particular way, I will not cater to that 0.1% audience that, you know, is trying to be fussy and elitist, you know, which I am. So this is a very, very, very personal list. This is not to influence you in any way. This is maybe the start of a conversation. Put down the whiskey that you probably wouldn't buy in the comments below, and maybe we can have a chat about that. But you know, I don't want you to go away from this video thinking, oh, I'll never buy these whiskeys that this guy said you shouldn't buy. I'm not gonna buy them. No, don't do that, man. Make up your own mind. Go buy all of these whiskeys if you haven't, and try a range and see if you like him. And if you like him, keep buying them. Buy dozens and dozens and dozens of them, and I'll be more than happy, you know, if you do that. But just for me personally, very personally, these 4 whiskeys, they don't really, you know, they don't really spark my curiosity or my fantasies, and for that reason, I don't think I will be buying them again, even if I run across them, unless something magnificent happens, something, you know, a new release comes out that everyone goes, holy shit, have you tried this? It is out of this world. And of course, I'll be like, holy shit, yes, of course I want to try it. Of course I want to try it. You know, FOMO. So I guess then I'll do it. But just on a casual daily basis, if I want to add whiskeys into the vault at the back, then we're done. Macallan, Jura, Glenrothes, and Dalmore. We're done. I'm not buying any more of your whiskeys. Sorry. But that's just me. That's just me. Okay? Please. And listen, man, take everything I say with a grain of salt. I'm an idiot. I don't know anything. I'm a snob. I'm an elitist. And half the time, I'm just saying stuff. You know? This is an entertainment channel. This is not an informative channel. This is all about entertainment, this channel. Okay? So take everything I say with a grain of salt, and don't take yourself too seriously, and especially don't take me too seriously. So please, I hope you enjoyed this video. I can keep going on and on. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for tuning in. You guys are awesome. If you like this video, man, maybe like it, maybe subscribe if you aren't already subscribed, or leave a comment. Definitely leave a comment and let me know which whiskeys you'll never buy, you know, just so we can get a conversation going. All right? I'm the Malt Activist. Until next time. Peace.